Hello everyone, welcome to an episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my initial look at a Fi Blitz deck. I've been toying around with some of the Blitz decks that I've been creating and just trying to see what would work best. And for Fi, like making a Blitz deck, the one thing I wanted to honestly do was just be as consistent as possible with hit turn to turn and really try to present good damage every single hand. Because in Blitz, I think with Fi and with Briar still being around, right? And with even, other kind of Kasai and other kind of aggro based decks that can put out a lot of damage quickly, most Blitz games are going like 3 to 4 turns. So I wanted to try to create a deck that, could be most optimal in that amount of time. Personally, I think Fi games, if you're playing against a Fi or you're playing as a Fi on Blitz, you're only going to go like 2 to 3 turns, in my opinion. At least probably 2 turns before someone slowly game presented lethal, and then 3 turns before it really gets hairy. So with that in mind, this is a list that I made. So it's a Syrian Emberblade build. I think Emberblade is just gonna be best to present the most damage. Again, we've kind of talked about what's the popularity between Kodachis or Emberblade in my last video, if you want to check that out. But I think Emberblade is just gonna be best for just Fi in general, but also the Blitz format to be able to present the most damage turn to turn. For the chess piece, I'm actually putting Flamescale Furnace in the main board. I think with Blitz, you're going to want Furnace and Shuko in the main board because Tunic is not going to be as important in Blitz because most games are rarely going to go probably more than 3 turns. And if they do, just the possibility of maybe using Tunic one time, what's better, being able to use Tunic one time during a game or be able to have 3 block, right? Because Flamescale Furnace has temper, but you possibly could use Flamescale Furnace's ability depending on how the game's going, right? So I don't think Tunic's worth it. I'm gonna put Flamescale Furnace in the main board for right now just because of the block. If I can block 5 damage out or 4 damage out in a whole turn with Furnace and Shuko and then be able to pivot with a full hand the next turn, that's a net positive for me. Now, if you don't have Flamescale Furnace, because I understand it is legendary, I personally would not run Tunic and Blitz. I don't think it's going to be the best. I think you want to have a chess piece to gain resources immediately and be able to make the most of any given turn. So the first chess piece I honestly would run in Fi is Vest of the First Fist, or Deep Blue. Those are the 2 that I would probably run the most. Deep Blue if you just want it to be able to give any 3 resources, or Vest of the First Fist personally. But yeah, Tunic, since Heart and Cross Trap's banned, Tunic, I would honestly think it's still useful, and definitely I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying that a lot of these games aren't probably going to go 3 turns. So that's my thought process. But I may put Tunic in the main board, who knows. Mask Momentum is a given, don't really have to talk about that. Snapdragon Scalers is a given, don't really have to talk about that. And then again, Shuko, this is nice for the 2 block. We're using this to be able to block and then have a pivot turn on our next turn, but also this does have a slight added buff because it will buff. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. It will be able to buff Phoenix Flames. If you play both your Phoenix Flames in a turn, it'll buff the second Phoenix Flame, giving it +1. So your second Phoenix Flame will come in for 2. It also, can work with smaller cards like Ronin Renegade or Rising Resentment. If you play those 2 and then play into a Phoenix Flame, which I've noticed that I've been doing more than you would think, to be completely honest. So that's for that. So that's why I have that. In the sideboard for equipment, we have 3 Null Rune for Kano, obviously, or Eastlander. We have Ironhide Legs for Benji, and then Tide Flippers as well for the Kano matchup. So we're running full AB4. So this should be, instead of Null Rune Boots, you can take Null Rune Boots actually out of here. We have Tide Flippers in here. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're running AB3 with Tide Flippers and 2 Null Rune. And then everything else, we'll kind of flush out the sideboard equipment because I put a couple pieces in here just to kind of give you all an example. But the definite sideboard equipment would be 3 Null Rune, 1 Ironhide Legs, and then probably a second chess piece behind Flamescale Furnace. So getting into the deck, like I said, the purpose of this deck is to go as wide as humanly possible. We are trying, not wide, but as consistent as humanly possible. We are trying to have good turns every single turn, not have an off turn, and really play on our natural Draconic Ninja attack actions and our Draconic actions with Go Again, the Go Get Phoenix Flames, in order to, have a good core of the deck, and then hopefully be able to use cards like Red Hot and Rise Up to close out games. So When it comes to like just generic go again, we have Brand of Cinderclaw. We have Mounting Anger, which has its added buff, but it is a go again. We have Flame Call Awakening, Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, Spreading Flames, which is good to be able to buff some attacks. And then Engulfing Flame Wave, Soaring Strike, like these kind of cards, right? Engulfing Flame Wave is really good in Blitz, I've been finding, because like your deck is so tight that you do banish an attack action more times than not. Playing this on Chainlink 2 is really nice, because basically if you play this on Chainlink 2, you will be able to banish any attack action in the deck that you come across, unless it's another Engulfing Flame Wave or one of your 2 Red Hot. So like your chances of banishing attack are really high. I'll get to the Rupture cards here in a second. For the blues, we're running 12 blues. It's like similar to like an Ira playstyle, where I want to at least have 1 blue in every hand to be able to swing with Emberblade, or swing Red Hot at the end of a turn, or swing Engulfing Flame Wave. So I want to at least have 1 blue per turn, but it is a little bit more of an aggro list, so I kind of follow the same principles that I did with Ira, and running 12 blues. For our cards that are not attack actions, I ran Rise from the Ashes at red and blue. It's just really good. It goes and gets a Phoenix Flame out of grave, and it buffs your attack by +1 or +3, and it'll buff every attack in this deck. I'm using Uprising. Some people are keen on this card, some people aren't. I love it. At its best, it's an Art of War. It legitimately is an Art of War. It gives +4 to that entire turn, and in a deck like this, where you have some attacks that hit for 3, now all those attacks are going to hit for 4. And then your attacks that are hitting for 4 are now going to hit for 5. It's just really nice for that. Phoenix Flames will come in for 2 off of that, right? Emberblade will come in for 4, because it's Draconic attack. So it's just really good. It synergizes really well with Emberblade. Like if you play an Uprising into a Ronin Renegade for 4, into an Emberblade for 4, right? Into a Phoenix Flame for 2, and then you come in with like a Red Hot, or not even a Red Hot, but a Rise Up for like, you've played 1 Phoenix Flame, so it's 5 Dominate, but now it's 6 Dominate. Like, it's just really nice, to be able to do that. And I'm willing to take the risk, because at the worst, this card is going to give you a +1 buff, and it's a block 3, right? So it just turns on really good hands, and I really enjoy it. For cards that are not attacks, I have Tome of Firebrand in here. I have 2 in here right now, but I probably may settle to 1 and add 1 more card. We'll have to see. This card's just too good not to try to get off every single game. So that's like how I approach that. For blues, we went with Rise from the Ashes. Hold on 1 second, Zeus. We went from Rise of the Ashes. We went with Ronin Renegade, Rising Resentment, Cinderskin Devotion, Lava Vein Loyalty. I normally don't have Cinderskin Devotion in my blue list, but I wanted to have at least as many block 3 blues as I could. So adding an extra set of block 3 blues was really nice. Just to kind of add a little bit more block value if I possibly can. The key drivers of this deck is using cards like Spreading Flames to give your attacks +1 buff, Uprising give your attacks +1 buff, using Engulfing Flame Wave to be able to banish an attack action, be able to play that effectively. But really the kind of like enders of this deck, right, are Rise Up and Red Hot. You want to be able to use these effectively. Red Hot, in my opinion, is not inherently a Phi card. It's more of a Phi special or a Jeremiah specialization than a Phi specialization. But in Blitz, it's so good. I've used it now in my Blitz testing, and I even used it in the sealed, my sealed pool in the Vegas Premiere. Like this card coming in at Chainlink 4, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come in for 4, and then an instance of 3 damage. So it's basically coming in for 2 for 7. Most of the time it was coming in for 2 for 8, and the most I got to hit for was 2 for 10, right? I hit a Red Hot for 4, and then I revealed 6 red cards off top of my deck because I drew off of something, and then I revealed all 6 red cards, and it dealt an instance of 6. If your opponent's at 4 damage and they have no way of preventing, like they don't have Quell, they don't have some type of damage prevention that's not arcane or physical related, Red Hot's just going to kill them. So super nice for that. And then Rise Up's just really good for mass triggers. It's really good for ending games on Dominate. Just a really solid card overall. And yeah, that's basically how this goes. So this is the core of the deck. You obviously get change this stuff around. This is just an initial first build. I do think it's in a good spot. I tried to stick. I stayed away from Inflame. I stayed away from other cards that are like 1 and 2 power, because in Blitz, like you need to be able to keep up with some of these power aggro decks. Even Ira got more scary with Double Strike and with Take the Tempo. She now has even more tools at her disposal, which I'll be doing a deck tech on her as well. Briar's still really good, right? We're going to have Kano in the mix still, so we're going to have to be able to really push damage quickly, and that's kind of why I went with this type of build. But hopefully this makes sense. Let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what your initial thoughts are. Like I said, the sideboard isn't fully fleshed out because I kind of wanted to give y'all options. But I'll have a fully fleshed out sideboard eventually here in the next week or two. I'll update it for y'all. The deck list will be down below. Just let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you like this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, go to Nerf Fleshbug Career, do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.